Welcome to Monday Soul Deliciousness. Do. My dog is freaking out. I'd freak out too. Sorry. Waiting for you guys to hop on, say hello. I realized I'm wearing a little bit of a morbid shirt. That's okay. But there have been multiple times today where I have been like, oh, I wonder what this person thinks about my crazy shirt. So anyway, it's I love my enemies. They taste good. And it's, a puppy. Cute puppy. Because that's how we roll. I'm like the nicest, most whimsical, crazy person you'll ever meet in your life. I just don't tolerate any crap from anyone. But I really am. I really am super nice. Okay, guys. All right, super. Hi. Can hop on, say where you're from. Can see you guys piling in. Welcome to the party. This is called Monday Soul Deliciousness in case you've never been here before. So welcome. This is my magical world of whimsicalness. Hello, Lisa, Tea Turtle. They're all from Tea Turtle usually. That's just my go-to. One of the reasons that I really love their shirts is they're soft, but they're also a little bit longer. And hello, Lynette. I don't really like female women, ladies fit, whatever. I don't like the ladies fit shirts. I feel like they fit really weird. Hello, Francesca. Hello. Where are you from? I hope I said your name right. First of all, you should know that I need glasses and I refuse to go. So I'm like, Francesca, right? Where are you at? Ooh, I think I just saw a hummingbird. Yes. Guys. Oh, sweet little tender mercies. I love little signs. Okay. So yeah, I'm wearing this shirt. I wore it to the dentist. I wore it to work. Hello. Hi, Leisha. Welcome. I wore it to some places where I'm sure people were like, but I really am. I didn't realize this until after, and Lynette, you'll laugh at this, but all of the upper level staff where I work were all out having a lunch on some picnic tables today. And I didn't have my uniform on because I had to go to the dentist. And so I was wearing this shirt, and we have a new plant manager, and I'm sure I totally probably rocked it with my shirt. I'm sure I made an impression like no other. But I feel like, you know what? Nothing to hide here. Nothing to hide here, friends. We're just showing it all. Okay, here we go. It's so crazy because I can see you guys typing, but my restream says that there's 2 people here. So obviously it does not know what it's talking about. So here we go. Let us get going. We're going to talk about thoughts and really how freaking important they are and how you can use them to your advantage instead of letting them use you. Okay. So wrap your head around this. If you haven't listened to me before, you're going to notice really quickly that the stuff that I talk about, it's pretty in depth. So, hashtag replay if you need to, but let this meditate with your mind. Marinate is the word I like to use. Let it marinate with your little brain. Let it sit in there. Think about it. It takes a little bit of a different cognitive level for you to hop on. We're not just talking about, chit chat, because I don't do chit chat very well. So we're going to talk about your thoughts. Okay. So first off, really important thing to realize. Okay. A thought is nothing more than keyword reality you create from your conditioned mind. It's really important that you focus on some keywords in that, okay? Obviously, the word thought, reality. You create from your conditioned mind. So, guys, this is why people can't get along, okay? Is because I have all of this conditioning that comes from my ancestors, that comes from my community that I grew up in, that comes from the school that I went to, that comes from my neighborhood, that comes from my church, that comes from whatever that is, okay? Comes from me listening to my parents. Hello, Amber. Listening to my parents, listening to media, whatever it is that I've been exposed to, okay? That is what I mean by your conditioned mind. So your thoughts are basically based off of your past history, so things that have happened to you, and what we call your collective cultural mindset. So there is no one else that has the exact same past history or the exact same collective cultural mindset that you do. You guys, that is why we can't get along. That is why human beings as a whole cannot get along. I was listening to something on the radio this morning, and they were talking about swear words. And they were discussing about how somebody had wrote in or called in or something about their kid playing with another kid or something. I don't really recall exactly all the details, but they were like, as a mom, my kid's playing with this other kid and they're using swear words and I don't like it. And so what do I do? Do I tell the mom, yada, yada, yada? Now, put on your adult thinking cap here and put your ego aside for a minute. And I'm going to explain to you something really insanely overwhelming to a lot of you. You guys, a swear word doesn't actually really mean anything except for what you've given to it, because it's your cognitive reality from your culture, right? The only reason that word means anything to you is because you have been taught that that's what that word means. But does that word actually really mean anything? No, it doesn't. It's just a noise that you are making, that you have connected with something in your mind that you've been taught, okay? When a little kid is first hearing language, it doesn't have any idea what a swear word is until they mimic the sound, then they get in trouble for it. And now, okay, we're building these connections in the brain. And now suddenly, oh, that is a bad word. I'm not supposed to say it. So now that is a bad word. I'm not saying that your kids should all run around and cuss and swear and whatever. But in reality, what does it really mean? It's something that we created from our conditioned mind. A swear word really has absolutely no meaning until you give it the meaning, okay? So if I'm in a room with people and I don't understand what they're saying and they say a swear word and it doesn't sound anything like the English version of it, does that word mean anything? No, because my reality of that word is that I don't know what it means. So I haven't created that word is bad. So when these guys were having this big conversation about the mom needs to go tell some of these kids being naughty and kids being bad because they're saying this word, I was like, this is actually how it all starts. This is how it all starts. And then we start feeding our kids all of this information. You said that word, and so you're a bad person. You're a bad person. People that smoke cigarettes are bad people. People that do this are bad people. Are they really? They're not really bad people, but we don't want our kids to do those things because now we know the reality of some of those things there are some health consequences. So we don't want our kids doing them. So we teach them that people that do that are bad and you don't want to be bad. So then guess what happens when your kid messes up? Now they're like, well, I'm a bad person. And then it all goes downhill. Hello, so fab April. Well, I'm glad you made it. Thank you for hopping on. You know, and then your kids need to come have a session with me because they have all these like negative core beliefs of I am a loser, I cannot do anything right. I am a bad person because all my life I was taught that if I did this, then I'm a bad person. Guys, in high school, kids make mistakes. How much better off would we be if our kids realize that, you know what, we all do things. We all do. It doesn't make you a bad person because you made a decision that maybe wasn't the best, but it's because we create our own reality. Okay, and I'm going to tell you about today. So I went to the dentist today. I actually have that nasty, like, fluoride, painted on fluoride on my teeth right now. I hate that stuff, but I actually have never had a cavity. So I'm like, whatever, paint it on, whatever. And I really want to break my tradition. I'm about to blah, 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 blah. Did you get that? I am about to turn 42 and I never have had a cavity. So, anyways, so I'm at the dentist. Okay. I'm sitting there in the chair. I do not like the dentist's office, mostly because of what I do and how I can feel people's energy. Having someone all up in my mouth is not cool for me. Do not like it. Like, you are in my personal space. Like, back the crap up, Buttercup. You're too close. Besides the fact that it's like, oh my gosh. And I told myself I was going to do this today. I'm pretty 100% positive that my dentist office has the TVs. They're just never on. But I'm pretty sure that if I said, I just want headphones and I just want to watch the TV, that I could probably get away with that. I think that that's what those are supposed to be for, right? I don't want to have a conversation with the dental technician or whatever they're called. I don't want to talk about my kids. I don't want to talk about my life. I'm seriously in the chair trying so hard to be super happy and talkative, and that is just not me. And she's like, what are you doing all summer? It's so idle chit chat. I want to, where's the gas? Like, I just want to go into La La Land. Give me some gas and clean my teeth. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about what I do. Watch me on Facebook if you want to know, honestly. So anyway, but then I'm like, I'm not a nice person because I don't want to have this idle chit chat with the lady. But then they've got their tools in your mouth. And so how are you supposed to talk? I don't know. Drives me bonkers. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm sitting in the dentist's office. I already do not enjoy it. I'm like, okay, I just want to get this over with, just clean my teeth. A song comes on. Guys, what happens when you hear certain songs, right, from events in your life? Even as an energy healer, even as someone that clears emotions from myself, you've lived 42 years. Like, that's a lot of stuff that can be trapped. And so I hear this song. So you've had a bad day, right? I can't remember who sings it. Daniel something. I'm really not good with song titles and artist names at all. Like, the only artist that I really know is Kane Brown. And that's because I have some kind of like, don't tell Dave. I just really like his voice. Okay. Anyway, so I'm listening to this song. So you've had a bad day, and immediately, bam, a memory comes with the song. I'm like, right? Oh, I have a memory attached to this song. It's not a great memory. It's about me being at officer training school. If you don't know what officer training school is, this is a place called hell where they send you when you join the military. This is where you go and you learn how to get yelled at, and you have to say, I was so overwhelmed when I showed up. You weren't even allowed to say something without saying, you had to say OT and then your last name, reports to ask a question. You couldn't just talk. You had to say, and back then my last name was Pitcher, so I'd say OT Pitcher reports to ask a question. And then the guy would say, ask your question. OT Pitcher request to use the restroom. Like, it was a cognitive brain foobar is what it was. And so OTS was not that great for me. It was the first time I'd ever been away from my family. The time that I joined the military, by the way, guys, please remember that if someone tells you something and you believe it, that's what happens for you. It becomes your reality. Okay. Because I just had someone message me and I was like, oh no, don't tell me that some healthcare professional told you that, because now that's what's going to happen for you. Because you believe it, it becomes your reality. Your cognitive, your subconscious mind follows along because you were told by someone with a medical degree or some certificate that this is what happens. And so that's your fate. And guess what? You follow it because that's how our brain works. So anyways, so I'm at officer training school. When I joined the military back in 2005 or something like that, my kids were like 2 and 4. 2 and 4. As a female, I joined active duty military with a 2 and 4-year-old. Pretty much unheard of. Add on to the fact that I was on a pilot track. Nobody. I knew nobody else that was a female with kids, except for women that had already been in longer, that had already had their careers established. Nobody was coming in with kiddos like I was, okay, as a mom. So really difficult for me. I had to leave this wonderful state of Idaho. We always call it, I don't know. And I left and I went to Alabama for 3 months. And left my kiddos behind with my husband. It was really hard. Mama gut wrenching. I remember the first night that I stayed in the hotel room before I left Salt Lake City to drive to Alabama. I was like, my stomach hurt so bad, right? It felt like someone stuck a boulder on it. But I pushed through it because that's just, I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to show everybody because everyone's like, you can't become a pilot. All right, you're right. So anyways, so I go to OTS and I'm living in these dorms and it's super horrible. You have to get up every morning. You have to go exercise in groups. People are yelling at you all the time. You have to get your clothes inspected. They don't allow you to get enough sleep. Because I was becoming an officer, it was really cognitively draining, not as much physically draining as far as exercising goes. Not like Navy SEAL type stuff, but cognitively draining. Just lots of testing, lots of project, lots of working in groups, lots of doing this and that, and learning how to be a leader, learning how to be an officer. And it was not a good time for me. All right. So I also had to go to the dentist while I was there. So you can see, right? You can see how these are compiling into a trauma for me. So this song happened to be really popular when I was going through OTS, and I happened to have it on, I think this was long enough ago, right? Whatever those little tiny Apple thingers were called, that had songs on them, and that's all you could do with them, right? They were like this big. I don't even remember what they're called. And so I had one of those and it had this song on it. And I just remember, because I was running a lot, listening to this thing all the time. So the song really resonates with me and it just reminds me, I can even picture it. I can see myself in my dorm room with my little drawer. You've got a little drawer with a key that you could lock it. And you weren't supposed to have snacks in your room, but because they weren't supposed to get in that drawer, you could kind of stash things. Yeah, an iPod. Thank you. iPad, right? iPod. Yeah. You could stash things in this drawer. And so I had like some like granola bars. And I just remember listening to this song and just being like, oh, the countdown, like how many days do I have in this place left? So I'm sitting in the dentist today, already not loving it. This song comes on and my mind starts getting flooded with this officer training school. And I'm thinking about being trapped there and my blood pressure starts to climb. And I immediately start feeling really trapped in this chair with this lady working in my mouth. And I start thinking about the dentist when I was there and just, I mean, bam, like right, overwhelming anxiety. And I'm about feeling like I'm going to have a heart attack. And for a split second, I catch my mind saying, I'm done. Just be done. I'm done. I don't need my mouth cleaned anymore. It's great. It's fine. I got to go. Right? I just want out of the chair. So what's creating this, guys? This is my reality based off of my own conditioned mind, right? Because the lady listening to the song because she had a bad day, is anything happening for her? No. I mean, at least as far as I know. Nothing's going on for her. The song is not bringing up trauma, anxiety. She's not freaking out. She has no idea that I'm feeling trapped. And this is all because I've created a reality based off of my conditioned experience. So I know this. So as this is coming on and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm having an anxiety attack. Okay. As much as I can because I'm in a dentist chair. But even thinking about it, I'm like, okay, stop. Have a breath. Slow your mind, feel it. What am I feeling? And I'm having this inner dialogue with myself. I'm feeling it. What am I feeling? Now, guys, as you start to have this inner dialogue with yourself, this really cool thing happens. You basically start to become disconnected from yourself. And I'm not talking disconnected from yourself as in you don't know what's going on anymore. I can't think. I don't know. I'm not in like a hallucinogenic state. Is that the word? I don't think so. You know what I mean, though. I'm not like in a state where I'm not in control of myself, but my mind is suddenly focused on something, right? So guess what's happening to it? Slow down, feel it. What am I feeling? Oh, I'm feeling really anxious. That's interesting. Release it, affirm it. I'm feeling anxious because I'm remembering officer training school. And now I'm having this conversation with myself. Hey, that's not the same. And I'm like, okay, it's not the same. She said it's not the same. I'm literally talking to myself like I'm having a dialogue with my inner child. Hey, you're right. Some of this is really similar. I like to agree with myself because when I agree with myself, then I don't resist. So I say, you're right. This is really similar. Song, dentist chair. But you're not trapped here because you get to get out of the chair when you're done and get to go home. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I do. It isn't the same. Slow down, feel it, release it, affirm it. So now, guess what? You're right. Everything stands still for a moment. Do I even realize that I'm in the I'm in a dental chair still? No, I have no idea what's going on. Like, no, I'm not even connected with myself anymore. I don't even know that my teeth are being cleaned. Like that part has come and gone. Okay. When you sit with yourself and you start listening to your thoughts, one of the number one rules that you have to be really careful that you don't do, or you will just get into this cycle and you will never stop yourself and that you can't disconnect. You have to see yourself without judging, okay? Because you see and judge the present self through the eyes of your past. I'm going to say that one again because it's really important. You see and judge the present through the eyes of your past. So if my mind starts to think something, I can't start judging and be like, oh, you can't, you think that. Okay, let's think about this one. Human beings, we're horrible at judging other people. We're horrible at judging ourselves. If I look at myself, which I actually did today, because I had my hair I have my hair kind of different today anyways, but it was really different earlier because I didn't want to do it. So I had my hair way different. And I was like, I caught myself before I got ready today, looking in the mirror thinking, I don't like the way that I look. And I was like, whoa, what? And then I'm like, oh, inner dialogue. What don't you like about the way you look? It just doesn't. And then I was like, I caught myself being like, well, I just don't look like I normally do. This is a weird look for me. And I was like, I'm like, but look at yourself. And I did. Stared at myself in the mirror. And I was like, look at yourself. You're still your same beautiful self. It doesn't matter that your hair looks different. It's just a different look that you're not. Oh, Helco, welcome to Momville. Hi, we're live on Facebook. What happened? The neighbors are being mean to you?
They broke our plates.
They broke your legs?
No, they broke our plates.
They broke our plates?
No, one of them.
Oh. All right. Well, you know what? How about you go take a few seconds to catch your breath and remember that the opinions of other people don't matter. And as soon as I'm done, I'll come and talk to you and we will see what we can do to fix it. Okay. All right then. Hello. Sucks when kids are mean, honestly, right? All right. Okay. Where were we now? Okay. So most of us are really uncomfortable listening to our inner voices. We don't like it. We are really judgmental. When a thought pops up, we tend to be really judgy of ourselves and we think like, don't think that. And then we basically belittle ourselves. We're really good at it. And the problem is that we energize them because we believe what we're saying. And instead, just listen to your voice without judgment and be like, oh, hey, hi. Oh, are you looking at yourself in the mirror thinking that you don't look beautiful? Look again. You look fantastic. Your inner beauty is shining through. Okay. when you do this and you disconnect yourself, your deep inner self comes out. And that's the part of you that is really good at making your life easier. Because when you disconnect yourself and you realize that really nothing really matters, like, right? It's really traumatizing to watch my kid come in and he's all really upset about the neighbor kids next door. And as a mom, I have to teach him, which is really hard. Hello, hi, Teresa. Hello, Stacy. It's really hard to teach him that the opinions of the kids next door don't matter. They don't. They're not responsible for his success in life, and they have nothing to do with what he's going to become. But as I try to do that, right, what do I have? I have everyone else around me trying to enforce with my kiddo that what they're saying matters and, you know, he's a baby or whatever. So Stacy, super duper, just send me a message and I'll find you a space. Hello. Oh my goodness. Hello. Hello, Rosie. Welcome to my chaos. Okay. So I will definitely, you know, focus on teaching my kid, like, resonate with your deeper self. Are you really a baby? Or are the neighbor kids just saying something to you because they've been taught to not be nice? Because the reality of it here is that they're doing something that's not positive. And I have to teach my kid the best that I can that the opinions of other people don't matter. A lot of that, right, I do through example. Like, hey, you know, mom's going out in her crazy shirt and her PJ pants and crazy socks because that's just how we roll and I don't care. And he sees me be happy and I don't worry about what other people are saying or thinking. But yeah, it's a battle. It's a battle, okay? He can't quite understand what we're talking about tonight, is way over his head. So you just have to do the best that you can. And unfortunately, people are mean. So that's just how that goes. Okay. So when your deeper self arrives, you feel this temporary gap. Like one of you said something about it. So fab, April. Everything stands still for a moment. It really does. Everything does stand still for a moment. That's good. If you feel that you are in that space where you're like, I am momentarily feel really disconnected. I really don't care about what is happening to me. I'm viewing this from the outside. Guys, that's not really a bad thing. You're sitting for a second. You feel this temporary gap because you are the outside looking in. You are witnessing the thought that you are having. And that is a beautiful thing because now your thought is not controlling you. And then you think to yourself, I'm creating this thought. That's all it is. Go back to that first thing. You know, I have to have notes because my brain isn't that great at taking this back. A thought is nothing more than the reality you created from your conditioned mind. So as I'm sitting back in the dentist chair, feeling like initially that I'm having an anxiety attack and I'm like 3 seconds from punching the lady in the face because I feel trapped and I can't breathe. I'm looking at it outside in, oh yeah, okay, OTS, creating, condition, you're having an anxiety attack because, and then what? Okay, I'm outside looking in and boom, the anxiety's gone because I'm feeling my deeper self now and I'm living in the now moment. I'm not resonating in the past because I acknowledged, I released, and I'm affirming, this is different. This isn't the same situation. Feels kind of the same. You're right. Have that conversation with yourself like you're 5. You're right. That does feel like the same situation. There are some similarities. You're very correct, but it's different. And you're okay. Okay. So yeah, you feel this temporary disconnection. So sit for yourself and reflect a minute. How often do you actually pay attention to what you're thinking? Are you living in this space where you have no reflection on what's happening? Because you'll be surprised if you actually start witnessing your thoughts, how many repetitive things are going through your head constantly. And when you get a hold of those and you step back for a second, I mean, be honest with yourself. How many times a day do you think you say something to yourself or you have a thought that is negative about who you are? I'm not good at, I mean, lots of stuff, right? Okay, like let's say that you're having a moment where you're like blowing up at your kiddo, right? You lose your temper, you're freaking out, you're having a mom moment. Like the moment that this starts going on, I'm going to pull back and be like, wow, witness, what's going on right now? What am I thinking? What am I actually thinking? You'll stop, pull yourself back and watch what you're doing. And I mean, number one, you know, like I told you, without judgment, I'm like, oh, I'm yelling at my kid because I'm tired, because my house isn't, let's do the house. I'm yelling at my kid because my house is a mess. And I'm going to tell you what, my kid right now is doing some stuff that I'm just like, oh my word, peeing in bottles instead of using the bathroom. Like, he keeps telling me they're for his piss tests. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm finding like plastic water bottles with pee in them in random places, you know, and I keep like trying to talk to him about it, but he's not listening very well. And so last night I resonated with myself because I caught myself getting in this moment where it's just like, you know, I've told you to brush your teeth 100 freaking times. And I don't want to be like that. So I stepped back and I was like, okay, disconnect yourself for a minute. How does this look to you? And I was like, oh yeah, I don't really like this. I don't like how I'm being. No, why am I being like this? Well, okay, because I don't want my kid's teeth to fall out of his head, right? I want him to have good habits. And so, but that break, I'm not necessarily even trying to find a solution, right? I'm just asking myself the why. Why am I yelling? So don't even try to find the solution. Don't even try to sit there and be like, how do I make this better? No, just ask yourself the why. Why am I doing this? Because all you're doing is slowing your mind down. That's all you're doing, okay? So I'm asking myself the why. Why is this really upsetting to me? I don't want my kid to live messy when he's older. I need him to brush his teeth because I want his teeth to fall out. He needs to go to sleep because school's going to be starting in a few weeks. And you know what happened? I call it a download. I released all the tension. I'm taking a moment. He's still running around doing whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm sitting with myself and I'm like, all right, guess what happened? Immediately out of my mouth comes, because I'm now living in the moment of now. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm not thinking about his teeth falling out. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm thinking about in the moment right now. And I look right at him and I say, Tayson. And he's like, huh? And I'm like, man, I'm like, you know, I really want you to brush your teeth. And it's really frustrating when I ask you to brush your teeth and you don't do it. Did you know that's really frustrating for me? And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, it creates this thing called frustration because I really want you to do it and you're not. And that's hard for me. And he was like, oh, it is? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I'll go do it. I'm not going to lie that momentarily I sat there dumbfounded and I was like, what just happened right now? The thing that I'm telling you about is I pulled myself back for a second. I analyzed what I was doing. I was like, let's talk about why are we getting so upset over this? Okay, inner conversation with myself. I don't want his teeth to fall out, yada, yada. I didn't try to find a solution. I wasn't like, how am I going to get my kid to listen to me now? I was like, no, but because I quieted my mind and I disconnected for a minute, pulled back, witnessed my thought, guess what happened? A solution came because I quieted my mind. I wasn't raging anymore. I was like, and I'm having that conversation with him, right? This is kind of making me frustrated. And he's like, oh, it is? Yeah, it is. It's making me frustrated that you don't want to brush your teeth. I don't like feeling frustrated. And immediately he was like, yeah, okay, I'll go do that. It was very eye-opening for me. Okay. All right. So sit for a second, kind of reflect on that. Change your space to now. Okay. At the dentist, another thing that I was doing, swatting flies because I live in the country, is thinking about the now. Okay. When I started having a little bit of anxiety, I started focusing a little more on like, now I'm like, that water pick's pretty weird. What's actually going on in there? And I started thinking about, that's quite the energy to be able to do this water pick thing. And I started like just kind of thinking about it. What am I doing? Right? I'm disconnecting myself from my anxiety because I'm like, that's so cool. Like, how is that getting the calcium or the built up plaque off of my teeth? But if she accidentally hits my gums with it, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like super pleasant, but it doesn't hurt. And so I've disconnected again, right? So breaking the pattern of how you're thinking. It's really good to do this with sensory things. So at one point, I started looking at the clouds. I could see the clouds in the window at the dentist's office. And I was like, look how fast those are going. And then like a butterfly flew by and I was like, oh, that was cool. Look at the butterfly, right? You're letting your mind wander. Hearing. What am I hearing? What am I feeling? Ooh, my heart's beating. That's cool. And you just let your mind go. Like you're seriously like 2 years old and you're experiencing life for the first time. Washing your hands in cold water, the sensory of the cold water, and then just be like, oh, the feeling of the water, the smell of the soap, the sensory of my hands, hearing, seeing, smelling. My heart is beating. I'm aware right now in this moment. What am I seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling? I'm relaxing and breathing. Okay. Is what's going to happen. I'm going to answer your question. Hold on. Okay, Alicia. But how do you deal with others' thoughts that made you have an anxiety attack? I just can't stop and breathe like that. I blow. Yes, part of that is underlying trapped emotions that you can get rid of to help you be able to deal with that. Some of it is just some practice. So, we'd have to do like a specific example to kind of really pinpoint exactly what's going on because it kind of depends on the person. Right. And the closer the person is to you, the harder it is to deal with someone's thoughts that make you deal with somebody else that's making you have an anxiety attack. I think that's what you mean. So like if my husband says something to me, I'm going to take it a lot more personally than if a random dude walking down the street decides to pop something off. Right. And then I'm like, who are you? So you come up with things that help you work through this. One of mine is just really being sarcastic. It's being like, do you pay my bills? Okay, you don't. All right, so then no, nothing that you're saying is really having any effect. But yeah, if you work with somebody, then it kind of comes more into like the cognitive communication process. Like, hey, have you actually told them? Because I love this. I used to be a dispatcher. This lady calls and she's complaining. She calls 911. And she's complaining because the person next to her driveway, she has like kind of a shared driveway. And I think she was upset because the person kept parking on the sidewalk. And she was like, I'm really pissed off because my neighbor keeps parking on the sidewalk and I want you to send a police officer to come and take care of this. And I was like, okay. Well, most people don't understand that police officers have time as a resource. And sometimes they're actually trying to, pick up somebody's, pieces off the road of their cars or themselves. And they really don't have the ability to come and talk to you about the neighbor parking on the sidewalk. Okay. So I would always be like, all right. And I remember telling this lady, I was like, all right, cool. So your neighbor's upsetting you because they're parking. Yeah. All right. Super. Have you asked the neighbor to not park on the sidewalk? Well, no. Okay. Guys, sometimes we are the ones that create our problems. What if you just nicely, and I'm always a big fan of giving someone a reason, because if you just waltz over there and you're like, hey, Bob, stop parking on the sidewalk, right? No. if I go over and I'm like, hi, Bob, how are you? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, so quick question. My kids love riding their bicycles on the sidewalk right here. Would it be possible for me to ask you to please park your car a little bit further in so that they can, go past on the sidewalk? I would really appreciate it a lot. Seriously, what person's going to be like, no? Because you gave them a why, and you're not just, guys, people don't like it when you act like their mom and you're like, Bob, stop parking on the sidewalk. I've told you 100 times. People don't like being belittled like they're two. So if you're talking to someone like that, or your own kids, and you're not getting a good response, perhaps it's yourself. Okay. So, how we communicate with other people says a lot. And sometimes we don't realize that we are actually creating our problems. So take a step back, reflect, disconnect yourself. All right. Okay. Last thing here. When you practice this and you disconnect yourself and you look back and you're like, okay, what am I thinking? Without judgment, I'm not going to beat myself up. Okay. I'm not going to beat myself up. Okay. I'm having that thought. Okay. Why? Why are we having that thought? Start talking to yourself like you are your inner child. And without being mean, don't be mean to yourself. Why do I feel like I can't do anything right? Who made you feel like you can't do anything right? Okay. So, all right, my mom made me feel like I can't do anything right. That seems pretty justified. Your mom did some things to you. They're probably not the greatest things for a mom to do. And you're having this conversation, you're like, yeah, she did. And then you're disconnected now and you're outside looking in and you're like, you know what though? That's okay because you're still loved. And you're an amazing person and you have so much potential. So let's not listen to the opinions of people who really, when it comes down to it, they don't really have their stuff together, right? Begin to smile at the inner voice in your head. I love that. Begin to smile at the inner voice in your head. So when something comes in, instead of being your own worst nightmare, instead of being belittling your own self, listen to your voice in your head and as an outsider be like, what am I telling myself right now? What is going on? And you'll see the things that are resonating over and over again. You're going to catch yourself doing things like, I'm always sick. I'm always sick. I'm always in pain. I'm always in pain. I'm always in pain. I'm always tired. I'm always tired. I'm always tired. Guys, you believe yourself. So what are you saying? What are you saying? If you look at yourself every day and you're like, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm fat. You are ugly and fat. Yes, you are. Because you are creating your reality. Your thoughts are nothing more than your reality. That is why you can be the most, we've all met these people, right? The most gorgeous person you have ever seen in your life. Or you see this on social media. Most gorgeous person you've ever seen in your life. I saw this just not even too long ago. Somebody posted an obituary. And it was for somebody local, and it really sparked my attention because they had posted the photo of the lady. And I was like, what in the world? And so I was Facebook stalking the woman. She had taken her own life, and she was like, if you looked at her, I was like, oh my gosh, this woman is beautiful. She looked like she was in shape. She wasn't overweight at all. She was beautiful. Every photo that I saw of her, she looked happy with her kiddos. But there was something about her thoughts and her inner voice that she was believing. And your inner voice can really lie to you. And your inner voice can be all of those negative voices of all of those people as you grew up and all of those negative energies of things that have happened to you. I must not be good enough because I was sexually molested. people say some really damaging things to us. When I was sexually molested, the person that did it to me was pretty close to me in age. So that's not sexual abuse. That's what I always, well, if it's not, then I must have been doing it, right? I must have brought this on myself because I certainly didn't know what that was. But someone was forcing themselves onto me, but because they were really close in age to me, then what, right? Do you see that dialogue that you have? That dialogue that you have with yourself. If you grow up in a religious community, you're taught right from wrong. So then what happens when you do something wrong? You're a bad person. Now I have these thoughts in my head. I used to lay in bed. Well, I used to wake up at night after my husband took his life. I used to wake up at night in an absolute state of complete and utter anxiety to the point I felt as though I was having a heart attack. I would wake up and just like do the whole like jerk in the bed. My heart would be going 100 miles an hour. I couldn't breathe. I felt like something was sitting on my chest, and it was overwhelming grief and overwhelming, you name the emotion, and I was feeling it. Blame, shame, grief, just overwhelming because of what was going on. I was living in the past, and my past was creating my current reality. Now, I'm not just going to wake up one morning and flip a switch and be like, oh, you know, it's all over and I'm on mile through that. It takes some time, right? But part of that is sitting with myself. Why am I feeling guilty right now? Why am I feeling guilty right now? Because I feel responsible for someone taking their life. Okay, this is a great place to have some dialogue. Okay, now notice I'm not going to judge myself. I'm not going to say, what does everybody else say? That's stupid. No, you're not responsible for the actions of anyone else, right? No. Sit with yourself. We'll use my example. I'm going to sit with myself and be like, okay, I feel it. You're right. You do. You feel guilt. You feel guilt that, you know, your spouse took his life. Feel it, release it. You're right. That feels horrible. It really does feel horrible. And now I'm going to start asking myself, why? But I've already started to release it. I've already started to release the emotion, but I'm asking myself, why do you feel like this is your fault? Because I didn't recognize that it was happening. Okay. You didn't recognize that it was happening. All right. I feel it, right? I'm not arguing with myself. Oh, well, you couldn't have, or you should have, right? Like, that's interesting. There were a lot of people that were around him that didn't recognize that something was going on. You're right. In fact, nobody recognized that something like that was going on. Absolutely. Because if they would have, somebody might have intervened, right? That's really interesting. Okay. So tell me what else is making you feel guilty about this? Well, I feel like I've let my kids down because this happened, and this isn't how I thought my life would be. And in the religion I grew up in, families are together forever. So now I have broken that. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. That is great feeling of you don't know what's going to happen. Totally understandable. Okay. I understand how you're feeling that. And then I just start looking at myself and being like, all right, valid reasons. But now the emotion's starting to go away. So as I've disconnected myself from it, I'm already starting to go in that space of being like, wait a minute, right? Because ultimately I know it's just the grief and the emotions take over. Ultimately, I know, who's responsible for how I act? Myself. Who's responsible for how someone else acts? themselves. Okay. So in this moment, what am I responsible for? I'm responsible for how I'm acting, and I'm responsible for what I do with this situation. Okay. What do I want to do with this situation? Right? And you just notice that because you've distanced yourself and you've distracted yourself from it, now you're going down this like really long therapeutic path. And by the time I'm done, I'm like, wait a minute. I want to take this situation and I want to help other people, because guess what? It's not their fault either. Nobody is responsible for somebody else's actions. And that's how we make progress. Okay. All right. That was pretty deep. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you want to hop into my group, I will post the link right now. So hang on 1 second. So I do have this really super cool group, and I am making it a space where I can post a lot of stuff that is related to what I talk about on these calls. But it's more of a group page instead of my big, gigantic social media accounts. And so you can hop in there. I post all kinds of things that are more in depth, more like how do you heal yourself? And so I just posted that. So you're welcome to hop in there, take some of those free resources and run with them. Okay, guys, I hope you have a beautiful night. Thanks for joining. I'm so excited you were on here, and have a fantastic rest of your Monday. Bye.